This is a video on the role of professor in the past, in the present, and the future, which I think it should be roughly the same. And I'll start with a definition, the primary role of a professor. And I got this from a Chinese-American guy from a little tiny Dominican university in Long Island who I met in Shinjuku a while ago, and unlike me, he was very clear what his role in life was, and then as soon as I followed his definition, I became more effective. And so this is a good definition, I think, but it's not mine. He said that students have no part in the role of professor at all, 0 part, and actually 1% part is what he said. And that the role of professor is to collaborate with other professors and via conferences and research to develop a body of knowledge. That's what the role of a professor is. And 1% of the role of professor is to invite in the best students to participate in his work of building conferences and doing research and developing a body of knowledge. And then the rest of students have no relation to professor life, and teaching and all that stuff is simply a tax paid by professors to pay for the institutions that they're in. And he actually had a list of 3 research articles, heavily cited ones, 2 or 3 citations each, on the fact that students taught by professors who use this definition learn more than professors who are taught by good teachers, and which is paradoxical. And so you see all these second-tier universities, particularly in Asia, third-tier universities, ranked 100 or below, that emphasize teaching so much and that feel like a glorious high school, glorified high school, because the faculty have no power at all. They're utterly ordered around by administrators who are arrogant and ill-educated. And the administrators stupidly believe that teaching is the primary function of the faculty, and therefore the faculty can't rise in ranking because they're treated like employees in a hamburger stand. And I really feel sorry. There are a lot of bright, very bright faculty in Japanese universities and Hong Kong universities and Singapore universities, treated like crap and burdened with unbelievable amounts of administrative work, and turned into glorious high school teachers by having 7, 8, 9 courses a week they were responsible for. And then they say they want to raise their ranking in the Times Higher Education Supplement. Well, it's not going to be hard to raise their ranking. Fire all of their administrators, take all the administrative work off of faculty, hire competent North American administrators, make the maintenance of a body of knowledge the primary mission of the faculty, and reduce the course load to way, way, way below what it is now, 2 courses a semester maximum, and give the faculty, and take the administration work off of faculty entirely so that they don't stand around doing entrance exams and crap like that. Bingo, suddenly they're doing research, and suddenly their pursuit of the edge of field of knowledge becomes available to students. And suddenly students are learning 10 times more than they're learning from some guy who's busy teaching the same old stuff for 20 years with old notes because he's treated like a high school teacher in a college by Asian administrators. So that was this guy from the small Long Island College definition, and it appealed to me at the time because it was such a diametric opposite of the Asian condition of faculty. And I had made compromises with my local Japanese institute. I never voluntarily came to Japan to teach, for God's sake. I dropped 460 ranks in college ranking just to come here. And I'm still, 200 ranks below where I need to be, or where I was, where I started. And so my wife was sick, and I really need to take care of her. She's cured now, and so I'm going back to top 10. I'm not going to hang around ranked 200 places anymore. I'm going back to top 10. And so I had made compromises due to my wife's health in coming here, and they had eroded the insides of my mind until I talked to this guy at Shibuya, and he reminded me of what the whole thing is about. And then it's really clarifying also in terms of this issue of all these Asian colleges that want to raise rank, but that don't do any of the basic things they have to do, like get all administrative work off of faculty, hire North American administrators who are competent and do work fast, and replace the Asian administrators who treat the faculty like crap and order them around. And then and these ignorant administrators in Asia who think that faculty are primarily a teaching machine, that is, that a college is a large high school, and get rid of that attitude and replace them with administrators with a brain and good foreign education who realize that a college is about maintaining and developing a body of knowledge, and that it graciously opens its doors to allow students, the best ones only, to participate in that and help that faculty work. But that's the mission, and classes are simply windows into faculty research at the edge of field of a body of knowledge. And classes are not places where we package up little bits of information and shovel them out to students to memorize and regurgitate on tests like high schools are. And there are, by that definition, extremely few universities in Hong Kong, extremely few universities in Singapore, extremely few universities in any Asian, in Japan. And it's sad for me because I know many of these faculty, bright people, who are in a horrible high schooly system maintained by ignorant government ministries of education who think that a college is a large high school because they've never been to a college. And so, you know, when you've got the blind teaching the blind and the blind administrating the blind for 200 years, you get really, really bad results, very, very, very low rankings, and then earned because you have so many students who don't do homework in Asia and who don't do reading in Asia, and faculty who don't do publishing, and so many fake conferences in Asia where Chinese scholars get together in Japan where the hotels are good, and only Chinese scholars on the organizing committee and only Chinese scholars presenting, and they're all presenting anything they want and approving each other's papers because they need that for promotion. Hundreds of these fake conferences a year across Asia. And so you have as much faking by the students as the faculty and by the government. And so everybody's faking universities in Asia. And it really needs improvement. And, you know, my touchstones are, and I think they should be, not to demand that my personal criteria be met. That would be childish. Asia's not going to change because Richard Green has a different model than Asia has. But is to move my personal part of every place that hires me toward world number one. And I can do that quite effectively without creating conflicts with the administrators. I've been doing it for 20 years, 15 years in Japan quite effectively. And that is to operate at world number one norms myself and to intellectually never make compromises with the sick Asian system of a college is a large high school. And I should operate, and I do operate, as if a college is a college. And the high schooly parts of the colleges in Asia around me, I simply disengage from and do nothing to further or contribute to as much as possible. And then my major work every year is going to conferences, designing new conferences, publishing in existing venues and conferences, and writing books and developing the fields of knowledge that I'm in. And teaching has no part in that. Teaching is something that 1% of my effort goes into, and I'm an extraordinarily effective, life-changing speaker according to student evaluations. Generally, I'm the most highly evaluated teacher at any place I work. Over 4 different colleges have tested that out. And but it's not because I emphasize teaching or try. It's because students get that feeling that they are at the edge of field of a body of knowledge when they're in my classes, and it intrigues them and gets respect because doesn't feel like a high school guy shoveling facts at them that they can read faster, easier on the web. And I've met other faculty in China, Japan, all over who are very much in the same boat that I am and have reached the same conclusion that I am. And so you are my colleagues and my brothers. I appreciate what you labor with, And, maybe if we keep knocking on this door for another 50 years, that we'll get somebody in some of these governments somewhere who understands that a college is not a large high school and that teaching is not the main role of professors, and that students learn more when the professors are windows into the developments of the field of knowledge, and they learn less when professors are just glorified high school teachers.